pretty standard dumbbell split squat. I'm already annoyed. Hello, welcome back to the channel. We are back for another Coach Reacts and Explains. What the hell is going on with these athletes? That's right, I've got the Boston Bruins hat on today. I'm sure you're very excited about that. And I'm sporting a nice little Lululemon. I bought these t-shirts and I can't get enough of them. And we get 25% discount, don't we? Which is all bueno. Right, we're not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get into brass tack on what's happening throughout this. So we've gone over a range of sports so far, but we haven't probably touched the biggest sport in the world and the one that I actually worked professionally in a while ago, quite a while ago. I've left football behind me, but I still play every now and again. But we're gonna look at football. Over the next few weeks, months, I will be looking at Real Madrid. We got some clips from Chelsea. We got some clips from Atletico. We got some trips from the Arsenal. But today we are going for people that have fallen from grace. When I was growing up, it was all about Arsenal versus Manchester United. So we're going to look at a little bit of a smaller clip today called what was available to me on my deep hunting, and we're going to review what's going on in Manchester. So without further ado, let's have a little look, see? We'll see if their training is the root cause of what they're doing in the Premier League, or what they're not doing, to be more exact. All right, that was short and snappy. I told you it was going to be short and snappy, but there was quite a lot in there, so that's why I decided to kind of just keep it there. There wasn't lots of repeats and there wasn't lots of stuff going on. So this is very much a gym session. We will look at like outside sessions for a few of the other clubs as well, which are pretty cool in terms of sprinting stuff, which we'll do in the future. But yeah, here's how Man United train in the gym. Beautiful. Couldn't have put it myself. Couldn't have put it better myself. All right. Straight away, we have number one. That is Casemiro doing. I don't know who the other lad was. Is it Lenny Yoro? It's either Lenny Yoro or Xerxes. I'm pretty sure it's Xerxes. I could be wrong. They need their names on the back. Casemiro is doing a pretty standard dumbbell split squat. I'm already annoyed. I'm already annoyed. Do you know why that pad is there, boys? Do you know why your pad? So I used to work for Brentford when we were in League One to the Championship, and I would go mental. Thank you, Joshua Xerxes. I believe it's you. If it's not, or it might be Hannibal. It might be Hannibal. I don't know. Drop down the comment down below. I'm pretty good with footballers. I can name them pretty well, but down below, who the hell is that? All right. So Casemiro, what are you doing, mate? That pad is there to stop your knee from bashing into the floor, and it is mandatory to put your knee to that floor. He's done. Just yeah. But normal dumbbell split squats, big fan. They're not heavy. I don't know whether this is match day -2, match day -1. Normally what happens is gym training tends to happen on a Monday, Tuesday and Thursday within a training week. Match day is like essentially game day, and you have match day -1, match day -2, and you work back from match day. You tend to load people kind of okay on a Thursday, and you tend to load them more on a Monday and a Tuesday. That is what's happening normally, right? So it doesn't look like massive loads, so it could be a Thursday. I'm gonna say this is either a Thursday or a Tuesday, I'd imagine, because it's not heavy. So normal dumbbell suitcase split squat. Yeah, I tend to do these with most clients. Almost 100% of my clients will have done these. And they're obviously going for the suitcase load over a barbell or a front rack or a safety bar or one. So when you're doing one, you can use the outside of your hip. So you could be on this side or you could be on this side. Most people would tend to go into this side of their hip, right? So if you've got both, it's just kind of boom, we're loading both sides of our hips. We're using both legs pretty much as each other. But if we were to go through just the inside, okay, so the opposite side of what is the main effort leg, I use that term main effort because it is not a single leg exercise. It is a split stance exercise. All right, get that out of your head. So I can't remember the details, but I remember Mike Boyle put it up. I think it's around the 68% mark, maybe a little bit higher, of front leg bias. It might be up. It might be definitely between 68 and like 78, something like that, percentage space of how much load is in that front leg compared to the back leg, which means you should have a get it together time when you switch to the over one, when you're doing really heavy ones. These aren't heavy, so all right. So if we were to put the load here, it is going to be dragging everything. So you're fighting against it. So you're probably choosing to do a little bit more adductor. Basically, it just loads the closest muscle group too. So adductors and stuff like that. If you were to use it just on the other side, you're probably going to get a little bit more kind of glute med and kind of hip external rotation is kind of coached in. Cool, right? Really simple. And that's where, like, I don't know, strength correctives comes into play. And obviously the back and the front is just more big bilateral loading, but it's less safe. All right, very quick, those ones, weren't they? We need to do that. Just a very slow scroll, I think. So these guys, there we go. So we've got definitely a quarter squat. Hate it when footballers wear their kind of running shoes when they're lifting. Hate it. Mainly because the sponge takes away from ground reaction force, okay? So definitely just a little quarter squat. He's purposely going to that depth, and a little triple extension, okay? Absolutely fine. It probably just looks a little bit weak, if I'm honest. I'd say you'd be able to move a little bit faster. I would have sped that up for you, mate. I don't know who you are, but I would have sped it up for you so you look like powerful. But it could be a big weight for them. All strength is relative. Footballers tend to be very light people, so there won't be any, very rare. I remember the playing weight for like Stevie G was like 78 to 82 kilos. There are not many that are going to be anywhere near 90. They're all quite slim beings. That's why I think they'd be really good high rocks athletes, most footballers. I think this is Scott McTominay, so it might be from last season, to be fair, because he's not there anymore, is he? So I reckon that was Hannibal back there. All right, single leg RDL. I should probably explain why that person's doing those quarter squats, right? So just for explosivity, when you do a quarter squat, you go into a partial range, which is fine. He's just trying to get as quickly transmit as much kind of energy into the ground as possible over a very shortened range, because he doesn't need to go from the floor. And when you're doing a running mechanic, more than likely, or his sprinting mechanics, this is probably the most amount of hip flexion this lad obtains when he sprints. So that's all we really need to train when we're training for power, for example. I tend to go a little bit deeper for certain things, just to make sure that crossover happens and we're just a little bit more resilient, so injuries don't tend to happen if we train into further ranges. But that is why we tend to go to as much hip flexion as we would normally use during our sprint. Cool? Comprende? Right, yeah, so single leg RDL on a landmine. That is definitely on a landmine. Big fan, would do. My catchphrase, by the way. If you just say would do at me, that is beautiful. So landmine, so you got contralateral load. Remember way back when we're in the split squats, we were talking about the contralateral and ipsilateral loading. So we've got contralateral load. I like that. So everything's dragging over here. With the SLDL, with the landmine, we know that he's going to be a little bit more stable because the weight has a contact point, which is cool. I like that. Maybe he's got struggles with that. I doubt it. And is he in balance shoes? Kind of. But the contralateral motion will cause this hip. I want this hip to be down, okay? So he's kind of closing that off into internal rotation so that this bit will be fired up. And obviously he's getting all the bang for his buck on this glute, and he's lots of stability happening. Yeah, nice. Just check depth. Just check the depth. I'm wanting this almost to brush the floor, I think, because I'm annoying. Yeah, not great. This lad would be, he looks junior. Yeah, this isn't fantastic. I can draw on this, can I? My clients see this all the time when I draw on things. Right, this is no bueno. Don't like it. This torso angle is probably okay, but this forward angle here is not okay. We want to get this straight down. So that should be where his knee should be, on this part. I don't agree with the closed stance unless he was particularly trying to quad build. In that scenario, I would move this one back so we get more knee flexion. So that is just not good. It's not good form. Don't like it. He's all closed up. You can kind of see that, right? So his hips haven't got enough space to move into, and the load isn't big enough, and he doesn't hit depth. So meh. My 70-year-old feet, like granny clients, can do better than that. Honestly. All right, Nordics, wonderful. These were super big when I was in S&C world. When I was coming out of the S&C game worlds, whatever it was, with my degrees, the main stuff, when I met the guy who did a lot of research on Nordics, which is what this is. Right, so you have knee flexion for hamstring. You're going to have a really slow eccentric phase. I still think that hamstring leg curls are absolutely fine if you haven't got anything like this, because they do either require a partner or a hefty amount of setup or a lot of confidence on going on GHD, JHR machine, right? That most people just do setups on, I think. But you can replace them a little bit with Borcholds. Don't mind this. If we're being really strict, but these are tough things to do. We would like tuck under, make sure the hamstring grapples, and we're only bending from the knee, so we want nothing happening from the hip. And he might, at the end of this, fall down, or he might just do a half rep and come back up. I don't really know. There wasn't enough footage. But not Copenhagen's. So we've got Nordics, sorry, another part of Scandinavia. The Nordic hamstring curl is a really good thing to do. It is decelerative strength in the hamstring, okay? Which essentially, for a footballer, the hamstring you need to get out of your head is not just a kind of moves the knee up and down, right? Or moves the hip up and down. It is mainly used as a decelerator and accelerator within sprinting. And that's what we use it for in football. That's why you might see a really big amount of hamstring injuries happening at the moment, because players are being asked to, with more high intensity, you can see when they camp out on one side or camp out the other, it's much more end to end currently, because you are being asked to sprint for longer, right? So the duration of the sprint, there was always lots of mini sprints that were happening within games, especially within counter-attacking teams, but because of those recovery runs having to be really fast and really quite long, like 40, 50, 60, 70 meters at times when you're bombing back on a counter, it's been quite hard. You probably think Tottenham right now, and that's one of the big things that's happening. So doing stuff like this will help. Oh, I love that. Mason Mount, no less. Does he play? All right, this is a Boyle-esque thing. Love it. Where are they? UCLA. Yeah, okay, cool. So they're in the States. So this must have been a training camp, the probably pre-season training camp. So they're at UCLA. So this slide board, don't get a lot of them in the UK. Amazing things. You think, if you want to shoot your adductors, I would encourage you to go look at Mike Boyle slide board conditioning if you're able to go and do that. So your adductors are going to be on fire. Everything lateral of your hips, inside and out of your hips and thighs or whatever. These are the king of everything. They're used for ice skating massively, right? So this is one of the things they might do their conditioning on. Slide board conditioning, and they just go from side to side. So you'll be on the slide board in like basically slippers, and you slide from one end to the other. I've done it over in Boston. Yeah, it's hard. I was like, I'm failing after about 30 seconds. I'm just not conditioned to do that. But footballers have to be conditioned to cut and move in lateral sequences. So good work. I like this 100%. I do them with you can use a valve slide, or just a little slider. Put that on the foot and slide across, like whether it be a nice floor or to flip it over and do it over the carpet. It will do a similar sensation. And you're dragging everything in. So you've got a nice stretch here. This is cool. I like where the dumbbell's going. I would ask it to pretty much, the target is touch your instep. With that, I tend to use kettlebells. And he's going to be basically grappling massively on this position. I'll just move this on his adductor. Beautiful. I think we've got one more exercise. Yeah, all right. He's not really moving. I think it's not really clear. I don't think he's doing overcoming isometric. If he's not moving, I think he is trying to, maybe. Right, it could be one of two things. It could be just a little isometric hold, like a yielding isometric hold. So you're holding a weight that you can hold up there, and he's trying to achieve a calf raise on a single leg with this safety bar, lower safety bar. It's not heavy. I'm not too sure what the Rogue safety bars are. They can range from, I don't think there's many 20 kilo safety bars, maybe 25 to 30 kilos. And then he's got 10. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that's 50 kilos. Probably holding the top of a single leg calf raise there, just to get some calf strength, get some foot strength. It's absolutely fine. I'd probably take his shoes off, but they're okay on the front because he's not, it's just, I'd rather the heel to be able to touch all the way down because that's quite bony. So which leads me to believe that he might just be holding the top position for a little bit more. Otherwise, I'd be asking for the shoes to come off. I'd be like, no, I don't want my shoes to come off. Fine. Oh, man, he might be doing reps or he might be doing a yielding. There's also overcoming isometrics, which I'm sure in a future video we will show you, and they're probably the king of calf isometrics and running isometrics to do. All right, and that is the end of that video. Out of all of these, it doesn't shock me from working in football is some footballers don't have amazing form. They're incredibly obviously skilled and talented at what they do, but in the gym, if they're not particularly gym guys, they can be a little bit of fish out of water, which is quite interesting. So I think over the next coming weeks, I've already written down, we've got Chelsea and Real Madrid to do and Arsenal to do. So we'll have a little look to see if they're a little bit better form in the gym. Don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in a bit.